On today's show, we're going into the kitchen with Chef Carl Foster, who will be showing us how to make a traditional Virgin Island seasoning and a roast leg of lamb. Then we join Jessica Kyler as she takes you down Main Street, Charlotte Amalie, and to one of the most beautiful beaches in the world. All this when we come back, right here on Best Bites.
Hi everyone, I'm Jessica Kyler, and on today's show we're going to take you on a quick tour of St. Thomas, starting with architectural details here at the Bank of St. Thomas. The Bank of St. Thomas is one of the finest examples of rustication in our town of Charlotte Amalie. Now when I say rustication, I'm talking about the way that the pattern of the bricks are laid. This in and out process gives the building a lot of depth. It also has great little details like diamond cutouts in the brickwork, pointed arches, beautiful florets, and urns on top of the columns, which supports one of the finest balconies in this part of town. As you walk down Main Street, don't be afraid to do a little shopping along the way. You can find anything from electronics to diamonds along these streets. But don't let the hustle and bustle of Main Street get to you. Take time and look around. You'll find yourself pleasantly surprised with the workmanship and details that went into each design of these buildings. Like the public library. A rather large, flat, stately building on the outside, but hidden behind these gates is an escape into the past. Now, keep in mind that at one time, this was a private home, and this arcade was the entranceway which leads to a beautiful little courtyard. This arcade is flanked on both sides by a welcoming armed staircase, which leads upstairs to the main floor, and you can still see the original crest of the Lang family. Many of these buildings were made out of brick and rubber masonry, which they plastered over to give a nice clean finish. But back in the 1960s, they decided to chip away to reveal all the original brickwork. This wasn't exactly the best idea because now the mortar is exposed to the elements, making maintenance priority one. The yellow brick and ashlar stones that you see here were brought over from Denmark and were originally used as ballast in ship hulls for long voyages. While you're in St. Thomas, you can't miss Fort Christian. Let's go inside and learn some historical facts. The fort is named after King Christian V of Denmark. It was first used as a government house, then a Lutheran church, and for meetings. And now it's here in St. Thomas, a museum for everyone to come visit. Now inside the fort they have these little exhibits, and we happen to be in the Caribbean hat exhibit. And all these different hats stand for different status symbols here in the Virgin Islands. And I'd like to point out one of my favorite hats, which is right over here, which I got a pretty good kick out of, which is the engaged but still looking hat, which is a three-pointed head tie. I thought that was pretty funny. Engaged but still looking. Aren't we all? Well guys, we spent most of the day shopping and now we just got done with Fort Christian. I think it's time for the beach, so let's get going and we'll put on our bikini. Here we are at Magens Bay. Now this beach was voted one of the top 10 most beautiful beaches by the Fuller's Travel Guide. There's plenty to do here from tourists to locals. There's great snorkeling, a beautiful beach bar, laying out in the sun, and a little shopping. Now, you have to come to Megan's Boutique because they have everything from sandals to hats to cute little bikinis to anything you need for the beach. They have everything from wraps to one pieces to little sarongs to little pink bikinis too. Oh, even with some hearts. Now that's cute. Now every bikini has to have its wrap that matches it. Or you can call them sarongs. And they have anything from these cute little sexy numbers to colorful ones and Caribbean ones. And every single bikini also has to have a beach hat. We do need to protect our faces, don't we? Oh, isn't that cute? I need to find myself a mirror. Thank you very much. And I see that you guys are conveniently located right by the bar. I think I need a frozen drink. Here we are at Magens Bay Beach Bar. Now besides seeing the spectacular view of Magens Bay and people watching, you can sit here and enjoy yourself a frozen drink. So I think I'm going to order myself a frozen bushwhacker.
Here's how you make a quick bushwhacker. Take 2 ounces of Kahlua, 2 ounces of Bailey's, 2 ounces amaretto, 2 ounces of vodka, 2 ounces of rum, and 2 ounces of Coco Lopez. Combine it in a blender with some ice, mash it up, and pour. That's it. You just made a bushwhacker.
Well, I have my frozen drink in my hand and I'm walking down the beach and I'm starting to build myself up an appetite. Let's go check with Carl and see what he has cooking in the kitchen.
Virgin seasoning does have, as I told you, a number of applications. Today, we're going to use the leg of lamb, 4-pound leg of lamb. We start off always by rinsing our meat. Okay, nice cold water, quick rinse, shake it off, and with a fresh, clean towel, preferably a cotton towel. Don't use paper towel because paper towel will stick. Pat it dry, all sides. Remember, excess water is not our friend. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to poke holes for the seasonings that we're going to use. Okay? Just right in, not too deep, all around. Now, in a separate bowl, we're going to take mint jelly, 1 tablespoon, 4 tablespoons of guava jelly, which of course you can find here anywhere, 1/4 tablespoon of salt, and the same with pepper, 1/4 tablespoon. Rum. Now, here's another rule, guys. If you won't drink it, don't cook with it, okay? This is good rum. We're going to use a tablespoon of that. And 2 tablespoons of the virgin seasoning, which we've already prepared. And make them heaping tablespoons. Don't be shy, and you don't have to go by the book completely. There it is, a nice 2 nice heaping tablespoons. Stir it up, and then at first start focusing on where you place the holes, and just push through a little bit of the seasoning, like so. Then the rest, just sort of pour right over the top of it. That's it. Okay, so after you've rubbed this down with the virgin seasoning, the next thing to do is to get it in the refrigerator. A minimum 6 hours, covered in the fridge, overnight preferably. Okay, so keep that in mind. So I'm going to go ahead and pop this in the refrigerator. I'll see you in a minute.
It's time for the recap. Let's start with the virgin seasonings, shall we? Take 6 green peppers, half a hot pepper, 6 cloves of garlic, 1 celery stalk, half a cup of parsley finely chopped, 1 teaspoon diced fresh thyme, 1 teaspoon black pepper, 1/4 cup of salt, pinch of nutmeg, and 1/8 teaspoon ground clove, 1/4 teaspoon allspice, and 1/8 teaspoon cinnamon, 1/8 teaspoon ground mace. Chop it all up as fine as you can, stick it in a blender until you get a nice pulp, and voila! You just got a nice base virgin seasoning. Now let's move on to our roast leg of lamb. Take a 4-pound leg of lamb, 1 tablespoon of mint jelly, 4 tablespoons of guava jelly, 1/4 teaspoon salt, 1/4 teaspoon pepper, 1 tablespoon of rum, and 2 tablespoons of virgin seasoning. Rinse your leg of lamb and pat dry. With a large knife, cut holes into the meat. Mix all the ingredients together and stuff it into the holes. Rub remaining seasoning over the leg of lamb and cover and refrigerate overnight, or at least 6 hours. To cook, preheat oven to 400 degrees. Place lamb in greased baking pan and bake at 400 degrees for 10 minutes. After your 10 minutes, reduce the heat to 350 degrees for about 2 to 3 hours, or 20 minutes per pound. When finished, garnish with fresh thyme and stewed guava.